Welcome to adding decimals. So today we're going to be adding decimals, and what you're going to see is adding decimals is basically the exact same process as adding any other number. But before we get to that, we have to understand what are decimals. Now if we take a look at what we have over here, what are decimals? Decimals are the numbers in between whole numbers. So what are whole numbers? Whole numbers are 1, 2, all the way up to infinite. 100, 200, 1,000, 10,000, whatever you want. Those are all whole numbers. Decimals are the numbers in between. So what does that mean? So it's a number in between 1 and 2. So if we think about between 1 and 2, you think, how can you get that? Well, it's not a full number. So numbers such as 1.3 or 1.37, even 2.5, those are decimals. They don't represent a whole. They're a part of a whole, or you could think of it as a fraction. So over here, we have our number 25.18. And once again, it's very, very important to understand place value. Each of the digits in 25.18 have a different value. So we're going to start from right to left again, so with the lowest value. And this is the 8 over here. And this 8, what it represents is actually 0.08. And that falls into the hundredths column. So there are 2 decimal places after the decimal. So what it represents, you could think of it as 8 groups of hundredths, once again. And the number to the left of the 8 are tenths. And over here with our 1, this represents 0.1. Or you could think of it as 1 group of tenths. So once again, that represents 0.1. So we have 1 group, and in their place value chart, that is 1 group. Now we get to the decimal point. And in the decimal point, there are all the numbers for decimals. They represent to the right of the decimal. And all whole numbers represent numbers to the left of the decimal. So we're going to go on to our next number. And we finally reach the whole number. So this 5 is our first value in our place value charts for ones. So this 5 represents 5 groups of ones, or simply put, 5. And our final number, which is 2, this 2 is in the tens column, therefore it actually represents 20, or you could think of it as 2 groups of 10. Alright? So it's important, once again, to understand the place value of each digit within a number. And just like as if we had a 4-digit number, it's the same thing. Everything must be aligned. All the things must be aligned to the left of the decimal and the right of the decimal. So over here, when we're adding decimals, I gave an example right over here. We have 2,518 plus 3,397. Now, I already did the addition over there. So we have 8 plus 7 working from our right to our left, which equals 15. Then we regroup the 1. Then we have 1 plus 1 plus 9 equals 11. So we have our 11, then we regroup the 1, then we have 1 plus 5 plus 3 equals 9. And then finally, we don't have to regroup anything, we have 2 plus 3 and that equals 5. So we have our answer of 5,915. Now I'm going to give you the exact same question, except it's in a decimal. So we have instead 25.18 and 33.97. And it's important to know that when you're adding decimals, the process does not change whatsoever. And if you don't believe me, we're just going to prove it. So, we have 25.18 plus 33.97. Once again, you must start in the ones column. Or sorry, not the ones column, but the hundredths column. But basically, you're working from right to left. So with the hundredths column, you're going to do the same thing. What's 8 plus 7? 8 plus 7 equals 15. We take our 5, we take the back digit from a 5, we place it under the hundredths column, nice and aligned. Then we place the 1 up over the tenths column. So now we do same process, 1 plus 1 plus 9, and that equals 11. So if you think of 11 over here, we take the back digit, put it under the tenths column, and we're going to regroup the 1 and place it over the ones column now. Now, one slight little difference, these decimal points, they need to come right down, and they're going to go right next to the 1. So now we have 0.15 as opposed to 15. And we're going to continue our adding. So now we have 1 plus 5 plus 3, and that equals 9 without any regrouping. So we simply need to put the 9, and then we do 2 plus 3, and that equals 5. So what did we find out here? If we check our answers, the exact same digits as our 4-digit by 4-digit number. So if we take a look, we have 5915 on either side. The only difference is we have a decimal place which is in between the 9 and the 1, and that is the key to adding decimals. Make sure that your decimals are aligned and they come all the way down. If they are not aligned, you are improperly aligning the place value chart. So you may be adding the ones with the tenths, which would be incorrect. So make sure those decimals are always aligned.